Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, not sore, not stiff, but actually stronger than when you went to bed. What if I told you there are just two simple vitamins, ones you probably already know, that can quietly rebuild your muscles while you sleep? Forget expensive powders, forget endless supplements. Tonight, I'll show you the overlooked duo that helps your body repair faster, fight inflammation, and keep you moving with strength and energy no matter your age. You know, there's something magical about sleep that most people completely miss. We think of it as downtime, as our body's shutting down for the night. But the truth is far more fascinating. While you're dreaming, your body is actually running its most important construction project of the day. Think about it this way. When you exercise, whether it's a walk around the block, some light weights, or even just gardening, you're not actually building strength in that moment. You're creating tiny tears in your muscle fibers. It sounds destructive, doesn't it? But here's where the magic happens. Those microscopic tears are like sending a signal to your body saying, hey, we need to get stronger here. But here's what's crucial to understand. Muscles don't grow in the gym. They don't grow during your morning walk. They grow while you're resting. Exercise creates those micro tears I mentioned. But sleep is when growth hormone surges through your system, when cortisol, that stress hormone, finally drops, and when the real repair begins. As we get older, many of us overlook this critical anabolic window. We focus so much on getting our exercise in, on staying active, that we forget the second half of the equation. We're building the foundation during the day, but we're not giving our bodies the right materials to construct the house at night. This is especially true for those of us over 65. Our growth hormone production naturally declines with age. Our sleep patterns change. Our bodies become less efficient at this nighttime repair process. And that's exactly why so many seniors find themselves stuck in a cycle. They exercise regularly, they eat reasonably well, but they're not seeing the strength gains they expect. They wake up stiff, sore, and feeling like they're fighting an uphill battle. So if sleep is the real growth phase, the question becomes, how do we fuel it properly? Now, I know what many of you are thinking. I've heard about magnesium. My doctor mentioned it. My neighbor swears by it for sleep. And you know what? Magnesium is helpful. It's often promoted for relaxation and sleep, and there's good science behind that. Magnesium does help calm your nervous system. It can help you fall asleep faster and sleep more deeply. But here's what magnesium doesn't do. It doesn't drive actual muscle rebuilding. Think of magnesium as turning down the volume on your stress. It's like dimming the lights so you can rest. But dimming the lights doesn't build the house. While helpful for relaxation, magnesium alone leaves a gap in your nighttime recovery process. I see this all the time with people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. They're taking their magnesium religiously, they're sleeping better, but they're still waking up stiff. They're still not seeing the strength improvements they're hoping for. They're missing out on deeper recovery because they're only addressing half the equation. That's where these two vitamins step in, not just to relax you, but to actually rebuild you. Let's start with vitamin D, which I like to call the sunshine hormone. Now, most people think of vitamin D as something for bone health, something their doctor checks once a year in a blood test. But vitamin D is so much more powerful than that. It functions like a hormone in your body, not just a nutrient. Here's what fascinated me when I first started studying longevity. Vitamin D receptors are found in virtually every tissue in your body. Your muscles, your immune cells, your brain, they're all listening for vitamin D signals. When it comes to muscle strength and recovery, vitamin D is like the foreman on a construction site. It boosts protein synthesis, which means your body gets more efficient at building new muscle fibers from the protein you eat. But that's not all. Vitamin D also helps regulate testosterone. Yes, even for women, testosterone is important for muscle maintenance. It improves calcium absorption, which isn't just about bones. Calcium is crucial for muscle contractions. Without adequate vitamin D, your muscles can't contract efficiently and they can't rebuild effectively during sleep. Now, here's the concerning part. Vitamin D deficiency is incredibly widespread. Studies show that somewhere between 60 and 80% of older adults don't have optimal levels. Even in sunny climates like Florida or California, I see seniors with low vitamin D. Why? Because as we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight. We spend more time indoors. We use more sunscreen. Our kidneys become less efficient at converting vitamin D to its active form. But vitamin D is only half the story. The second vitamin is what stitches everything together. Most people think of vitamin C as something you take when you feel a cold coming on. Pop some orange juice, maybe a vitamin C tablet, and hope for the best. But vitamin C's role in muscle recovery and strength is absolutely critical. especially as we age. Vitamin C is essential for collagen synthesis. Now, when you hear collagen, you might think of expensive creams and beauty products, but collagen is actually the most abundant protein in your body. It's the scaffolding that holds your muscles, tendons, and joints together. Without adequate vitamin C, your body simply can't produce healthy collagen. Think of it this way: if vitamin D is the foreman directing muscle construction, vitamin C is the materials engineer ensuring the building has a solid foundation and strong connections. It's not just about building muscle fibers, it's about building the connective tissue that allows those muscles to work smoothly and efficiently. But vitamin C does something else that's particularly important for seniors. It's one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. When you exercise, your body produces free radicals. These are unstable molecules that can damage cells and contribute to inflammation. A young person's body naturally handles this oxidative stress pretty well. But as we age, our natural antioxidant systems become less efficient. That's where vitamin C steps in. It acts like a cleanup crew, neutralizing those free radicals and reducing oxidative stress after exercise. This is why vitamin C prevents the stiffness, soreness, and injury risks that tend to increase with age. Without adequate vitamin C, that post-exercise inflammation lingers longer, recovery takes more time, and you're more likely to wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck. Now, here's the magic when you combine them. Vitamin D and vitamin C work together in a way that's truly remarkable. Vitamin D builds stronger muscle fibers, essentially upgrading the engine. Vitamin C repairs connective tissue and sweeps away inflammation, maintaining the engine and clearing out the exhaust. Together, they make recovery seamless and pain-free. I've seen this combination work wonders for people who felt like their best days were behind them. One gentleman I know, 73 years old, had been struggling with persistent muscle soreness after his daily walks. He was taking magnesium, getting decent sleep, but still waking up stiff and discouraged. Within a few weeks of adding vitamins D and C to his nighttime routine, he was not only walking pain-free, but it increased his distance by nearly 50%. But why take them at night instead of in the morning? This is where timing becomes everything, and it's something most people get wrong. Your body operates on a natural rhythm. Scientists call it your circadian rhythm, and this rhythm determines when your body is in building mode versus breaking down mode. In the morning, your body is catabolic. That means it's breaking down stored energy to fuel your day's activities. Cortisol levels are high, which is good. You need that energy to get moving, but it's not the ideal environment for building and repair. At night, your body shifts into anabolic mode. This is when it's building and repairing. Growth hormone levels naturally rise during deep sleep. Cortisol drops. Your body temperature slightly decreases. All of these changes create the perfect environment for muscle recovery and rebuilding. Taking vitamins D and C before bed aligns with these natural circadian rhythms. You're providing your body with the raw materials it needs right when it's most ready to use them for construction and repair. It's like delivering building supplies to a construction site right before the night shift begins, their most productive work. This timing not only helps muscles, but also strengthens something even more important. One of the biggest challenges I see with seniors is inconsistency in their exercise routines. Not because they lack motivation or discipline, but because they're constantly being derailed by minor illnesses, fatigue, or just feeling run down. You start a walking program, you're doing great for 2 weeks, then you catch a cold and you're out for another week. By the time you recover, you've lost momentum. This is where the immune benefits of our vitamin duo become crucial. Vitamin D acts like the general of your immune system. It helps coordinate your body's defense responses, making sure your immune cells are working efficiently without going into overdrive. When your vitamin D levels are optimal, your immune system is both stronger and smarter. It fights off threats without creating excessive inflammation. Vitamin C fuels the soldiers, your white blood cells that actually fight illness. But it does more than that. It helps regulate your immune response, preventing it from becoming overly aggressive. This is particularly important as we age, because our immune systems can sometimes become hyperactive, creating chronic low-level inflammation that saps our energy and slows recovery. When your immunity is strong and balanced, you experience fewer interruptions to your routine. You're not constantly fighting off minor infections. You're not dealing with the fatigue that comes from chronic inflammation. This means steady, consistent progress in your strength and mobility goals. And this isn't just about short-term recovery. The long-term benefits are life-changing. Research shows that people with optimal vitamin D levels have a significantly reduced risk of respiratory infections. We're talking about reductions of 20 to 40% in some studies. They also show lower levels of chronic inflammation markers, those blood markers that indicate your body is constantly fighting some low-level battle. Better bone and joint health is another crucial benefit. While we've talked mostly about muscles, vitamins D and C work together to maintain the entire musculoskeletal system. Vitamin D ensures proper calcium absorption for bone strength. Vitamin C supports cartilage health and joint flexibility. Together, they help maintain the structural foundation that allows you to stay active and independent. But perhaps most importantly, this combination supports sustained energy and mobility. When your muscles recover efficiently, when inflammation is controlled, when your immune system isn't constantly drained fighting minor infections, you have more energy for the things that matter. Daily activities become easier and safer. You're less likely to experience falls or injuries. You maintain that crucial independence that makes life enjoyable and meaningful. Let me give you a real-world example of how this works. Picture this scenario. You've had a particularly active day. Maybe you spent the morning gardening, did some housework in the afternoon, perhaps took a longer walk than usual. Normally, you'd expect to wake up the next morning with some soreness, maybe some stiffness in your joints. Your usual routine might involve spending the first hour of the day working out the kinks, moving slowly until your body loosens up. But instead, with vitamins D and C working through the night, you wake up feeling different. You're not stiff, you're not sore. In fact, you feel stronger, more energized, more ready to tackle another active day. This isn't just wishful thinking. This is what happens when you give your body the right tools for nighttime recovery. I suggest trying this consistently for 30 days and tracking the changes. Keep a simple journal. Note how you feel when you wake up. Rate your energy levels. Pay attention to how quickly you bounce back from physical activities. Many people are amazed by what they discover. One woman I know, 68 years old, had been struggling with what she called morning stiffness for years. She assumed it was just part of getting older. After 3 weeks of taking vitamins D and C before bed, she realized she was jumping out of bed instead of slowly creaking her way upright. The change was so dramatic that her husband started the same routine. Of course, you might be wondering, can't I just get these from food? But this is such an important question, and I'm glad you're thinking about it. Food should always be our first choice when possible. Let's talk about what that would look like for vitamins D and C. For vitamin D, your best food sources are fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Eggs, especially from pasture-raised chickens, contain some vitamin D. You'll find it in fortified dairy products and some mushrooms that have been exposed to UV light. Here's the reality, though, to get adequate vitamin D from food alone, you'd need to eat about 3.5 ounces of salmon every single day. That's not just expensive. For many people, it's simply not practical or appealing. And remember, we're talking about optimal levels for muscle recovery and immune function, not just the minimum to prevent deficiency. Vitamin C is more abundant in food. Citrus fruits are the obvious choice: oranges, grapefruits, lemons. But you'll actually find higher concentrations in bell peppers, particularly red ones, strawberries, kiwi fruit, and broccoli. A single red bell pepper contains more vitamin C than most oranges. But here's where it gets tricky for seniors specifically. Most seniors don't get enough from diet alone, especially when we consider the increased demands that come with trying to maintain muscle mass and recover from exercise. Your vitamin C needs increase when you're dealing with any kind of physical stress, including the good stress of regular exercise. There's also the issue of absorption and consistency. Vitamin C is water-soluble, which means your body doesn't store it. You need a steady supply throughout the day, and levels can fluctuate dramatically based on what you've eaten recently. Vitamin D, on the other hand, is fat-soluble and requires adequate healthy fats in your meal to be properly absorbed. Supplements offer a reliable way to bridge the gap. They ensure you're getting consistent, measurable amounts of these crucial nutrients. You're not dependent on whether the produce at your grocery store was picked at peak ripeness or whether you remembered to eat enough colorful vegetables today. I'm not suggesting you abandon a healthy diet, quite the opposite. But I am saying that supplements can provide the insurance policy that ensures you're getting what you need for optimal recovery, especially during the critical nighttime repair window. So let's bring this all together. Sleep is when real growth happens. This is the foundation of everything we've discussed. Your body has evolved over millions of years to use this nighttime period for repair, rebuilding, and restoration. But it can only work with the materials you provide. Think of it like this. You wouldn't expect a construction crew to build a house without delivering lumber, nails, and concrete to the job site. Your body's nighttime repair crew is just as dependent on having the right materials available. Vitamins D and C are two of the most crucial building materials for muscle recovery, inflammation control, and immune function. The protocol is beautifully simple. Take vitamin D and vitamin C before bed, consistently, not occasionally, not when you remember, but as part of your nightly routine. Make it as automatic as brushing your teeth. For vitamin D, most seniors benefit from somewhere between 1,000 to 4,000 international units daily. The exact amount depends on your current levels, your body weight, and how much sun exposure you get. If you haven't had your vitamin D blood level checked recently, that's a conversation worth having with your healthcare provider. For vitamin C, you're looking at somewhere between 500 to 2,000 milligrams. Start on the lower end and see how you respond. Some people find that higher doses of vitamin C can be mildly stimulating, so you might need to adjust timing if that's the case for you. The benefits of this simple addition to your routine are remarkable. Faster recovery, less soreness, stronger immunity, and healthier aging overall. But perhaps most importantly, it's practical, affordable, and easy to implement. No complicated protocols, no expensive equipment, no dramatic lifestyle changes. What I love about this approach is that it works with your body's natural rhythms rather than fighting against them. You're not trying to force your body to do something it doesn't want to do. You're simply providing the tools it needs to do what it already knows how to do: repair, rebuild, and restore. I've seen this simple change transform people's relationship with exercise and activity. When you're not constantly battling soreness and stiffness, movement becomes enjoyable again. When you're not frequently derailed by minor illnesses, you can maintain consistency in your routines. When you wake up feeling stronger rather than weaker, the whole trajectory of your day changes. One gentleman I know started this routine at 75, convinced his best days were behind him. He'd been struggling with what his doctor called normal aging, increased stiffness, slower recovery, frequent minor illnesses that knocked him off his exercise routine. 6 months later, he was hiking trails he hadn't attempted in years. His secret? Nothing more complicated than 2 vitamins taken consistently before bed. Remember, we're not talking about turning back the clock or chasing fountain of youth fantasies. We're talking about optimizing the natural processes your body wants to perform every single night. We're talking about removing the bottlenecks that prevent efficient recovery and giving your body's repair mechanisms the fuel they need to function at their best. The research supporting this approach continues to grow stronger every year. Studies on vitamin D and muscle function, vitamin C and exercise recovery, the importance of circadian timing for nutrient utilization, all of it points to the same conclusion. These aren't exotic discoveries or complicated interventions. They're fundamental building blocks that become increasingly important as we age. Your body is remarkably resilient and adaptable, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond, but it needs the right support. It needs consistency. And it needs you to work with its natural rhythms rather than against them. Starting tonight, you have the opportunity to begin supporting your body's natural recovery processes in a way that can dramatically improve how you feel tomorrow morning, next week, and months from now. The 2 vitamins we've discussed, vitamin D and vitamin C, taken before bed, can be the foundation for feeling stronger, more energetic, and more resilient as you age. This isn't about perfection or dramatic overnight changes. It's about consistency and patience. Give your body time to respond. Give yourself permission to feel better. And give these simple science-backed nutrients the chance to work their quiet magic while you sleep. Your future self, the one who wakes up stronger, moves with confidence, and maintains independence, will thank you for making this simple change tonight.